President Trump's former confidant Omarosa now claims that Trump knew in advance about the Democratic emails Russia hacked during the 2016 campaign. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. It's important to remember that anytime you hear the president or his defenders say anything about the Russia probe, they don't actually care about the details of the case or the legal principles at stake. Their sole motivation is to discredit the investigation in the minds of voters. Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, even admitted as much on Sunday.
Why have you decided to literally try this case in the court of public opinion? Is that a deliberate strategy on your part?
Yeah, absolutely deliberate. I mean, that's where it's being tried. Public opinion will be, as you know, very important. When I came into the case, public opinion was against us. Think of it this way. They're our jury. They're our grand jury.
You think the public is your jury? Oh, I have bad news, because you know who's your jury? The jury. When you're in the courtroom and the foreman says, "We find the defendant guilty," you're not going to be able to turn around and say, "Now let's hear from you, America. Text 555-0100 for not guilty." So Giuliani admitted it. For Trump and his team, it's not about the facts of the case, it's about public opinion. That's why Rudy's on TV all the time looking like he just saw a spider on his toothbrush. That might also be why Rudy seems so uninterested in the actual work of being a lawyer. Like, you know, researching basic legal questions or looking over documents.
Do you also think obstructing justice is not a crime?
Of course it's a crime.
You just said that the president can...
No, under Article 2 of the Constitution, I'm not going to tell you my opinion on it because I haven't really gotten to the conclusion of researching it.
Is it possible that Robert Mueller has something and you have no idea what he has?
No.
Why?
Because I've been through everything. I've talked to the president. The president's an honest man. The president did nothing wrong, hasn't done anything wrong. Throughout this, he said, give him all the documents. John Dowd will tell you this. 1.4 million documents. We don't even look at them. We just gave it to him.
You didn't even look at him? You're his lawyer. You should probably know what you're handing over. We gave Mueller everything. Trump's schedule, his emails, his tax returns. Oh, no! Oh, the tax returns. Oh, Rudy has screwed up this time. Oh, Rudy. Oh. I'm gonna brush my teeth to clear my head. Spider! Rudy's lack of preparation might explain why he can't seem to settle on one coherent argument about what actually happened. For example, Robert Mueller wants to ask Trump about his conversation with then FBI Director James Comey, who claims Trump told him to drop his investigation of ex-National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Rudy keeps cycling through different explanations for that conversation, sometimes in the same interview, as he did Monday on Fox & Friends.
Here's what happened. The president says, I never said to Flynn anything about...
I never said to Comey.
I never said to Comey anything about Flynn. Comey says, and he adds this at the very end, Comey says he told me to see if I could give him a break, basically. So we have three defenses to that. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, you can't really question why the president would say something. He has the power to say it. Number two, what he was saying is perfectly justifiable. He didn't say, you must, you have to, I'll fire you if you don't. He said, consider it. Number three, he never said.
Oh, my God. He's like a magician frantically asking, is this your card? No? Okay, how about this one? Okay, hold on, there's 50 more. Okay, is it a red one? Is it a red one? Is it does it start with a 4, a 7, a 9? Rudy clearly just makes stuff up as he goes along, and now he's got a new line. He's telling people that Mueller told him he would wrap up the investigation by September 1st, although Rudy's story doesn't sound very convincing.
We think it should end. The investigation
whole
should be over. Absolutely. It should be terminated. He should put out his report, tell the American people what he has. So why did I say September 1st? Because a long time ago, 2 months ago, when we met with him, he threw out September 1st as a date that he might be able to get the report done by. And...
does he still sound like that?
Well, we haven't talked. He has not repeated that since then, but he hasn't taken it back.
Oh, he hasn't taken it back. You're representing the President of the United States, and you're handling this case like a 5th grader playing tag. You said September 1st, no backsies. Now pick one of these words. But if Rudy seems unequipped, if Rudy seems at all unequipped to handle the Russia investigation so far, then he's really going to be in over his head this week with the latest revelations from Trump's former confidant and aide, Omarosa Manigault Newman. Omarosa's tell-all book has a lot of sensational allegations, like her claim that she saw Trump put a note in his mouth. He appeared to be chewing and swallowing the paper. It must have been something very, very sensitive. Now, this is Omarosa we're talking about, so anything she says should be taken with a grain of lithium. But yesterday, she dropped a new bombshell claiming that Trump knew in advance about the Hillary Clinton emails that Russia hacked during the campaign.
I think that he should come clean with the American people. I think that he should be honest about what he did during the campaign and what he continued to do in the White House.
You were instructed, according to your book, to bring up the emails at every point you could at the end of the 2016
That's
campaign.
correct.
Hillary Clinton's emails.
Yes, that was our talker.
Did
in
Donald
order to
Trump
uncover
know
it.
about those emails before they came out?
Absolutely.
He knew about them.
Yes.
He knew what was coming out before WikiLeaks
Yes.
released them.
Amazing. So after Trump's public praise of Vladimir Putin, his attorney general's meetings with Russians, his campaign chairman's money laundering, his deputy campaign chairman's tax fraud, his personal fixer's secret shell company, his national security advisor's lies to the FBI, his son's attempt to get dirt from a foreign adversary, and his son-in-law's secret back channels with that adversary, the person who could end up taking down the president of the United States is Omarosa. Omarosa. It took her 14 years, but she's finally getting revenge for Trump firing her in season 1. Let's be honest, the only fitting way for this presidency to end would be Trump to get indicted and leave the White House crying in the back of a cab. Omarosa has also written in her book that Trump was furious at his son, Don Jr., after Don Jr. released his emails with Russians, revealing that the infamous Trump Tower meeting in 2016 was an attempt to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. That contradicted their original story that the meeting was about adoption policy. Omarosa writes, when I saw Donald that day, I said, I'm sorry to hear about Don. He said, he is such a up. He screwed up again, but this time he's screwing us all big time. Wait, so we just said this in passing during a conversation? Can you imagine making small talk with Trump in the elevator? Hey, Donald, hot enough for you? My son's an ass. Now, Omarosa obviously has as much credibility as anyone else in Trump world, which is to say, very little. But she's been releasing secret tapes of her conversations to back up her side of the story. In fact, she's taped everyone from John Kelly to Ivanka Trump to Jared Kushner to the president himself, which is incredible, given that, as we've noted before, Trump has a lifelong obsession with being secretly taped. We saw that shortly after he became president when he falsely accused Obama of tapping his wires, and then angrily tried to storm out of an interview when he was asked to provide evidence for that claim.
Did President Obama give you any advice that was helpful? That you think, wow, he
Well,
really
he was
deserved-
very nice to me, but after that, we've had some difficulties. So it doesn't matter. You know, words are less important to me than deeds. And you saw what happened with surveillance.
But you stand by that claim about
I
him?
don't stand by anything. I just, you can take it the way you want. I think that is a very big surveillance of our citizens. I think that's a very big topic, and it's a topic that should be #1, and we should find out what the hell is going on. I have my own opinions. You can have your own opinions.
But I want to know your opinions. You're the president of the United
Okay,
States.
it's enough. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a lot of paperwork to eat. Trump surrounded himself with grifters and con artists, and now that it's coming back to haunt him, he's trying to grift his way out of it. It's the first rule of Trumpism. Everyone's grifting everyone else, and everyone eventually turns on Trump. Omarosa is just the latest example. They're all following the Trump mantra, which is...
I don't stand by anything.
This has been A Closer Look.